Feudalism, slave, labor equals profit. Feudalism, or enslaving people, achieves the same objective. One is denied freedom. Both institutions function very similarly. An individual receives room and board in exchange for labor. It is obvious employment, but no monetary exchange as it might be today. So you do not achieve purchasing power, and the overall economy might suffer consequences in these non-monetary exchanges. So, developing industries in the past, right, required a market. A market, it's like today we have a supermarket, where you exchange either, right, money or your plastic, food, or goods, right? So we call that a supermarket. That's a market. So in those days, they had to have a means of exchanging for goods other than labor, right? Like if you go to a restaurant and you forgot your money or your plastic, if it has anything in it, and you can't pay the bill. So what happens is that they may send you to go and wash the dishes or clean the floor in exchange for the food you ate, right? So then you had to, in those days, new system had to be developed, and we, Shazam, we have a monetary one, right? Money, right? The creation of money. So it becomes an intermediary to make the connection between both parties. Tying you in to the dollar, the funds. You have to. God we trust, right? So we understand that an economy based solely on slavery as the saying goes, no work, no gain, right? So now an economy needs a market, right? So now let's go back a little bit to the days supposedly before there were people here from Europe, right, or other parts. So my question would be, why would you want to immigrate to a country or a region of the world, right, the Americas, where slavery is the leading industry, unless you came under the same circumstances? How will you find work, right, if there's full employment of so-called slaves, especially in the U.S. southern states, and to some degree in the U.S. northern states, right, the Caribbean, Central, and South America? How did this addiction to slavery, so-called slavery, was so socially acceptable? It is very puzzling to me, especially for the amount of years historians claim it started in the Americas. Let me see if I truly understand the narration. Was slavery actually good for the economy? Or maybe I truly didn't comprehend what it meant. See, throughout the history of humanity, many different societies have fallen into slavery. The Irish, Scottish, Slavs, Chinese, Indian, melanated, and on and on and on. The word itself, labor, is coined from the Slavic people in Europe and somehow applied ever since to our diversity of people. It's interesting to me how the 5-letter word slave evenly matches the 5-letter word labor. Could it be similar in meaning? Or does it actually mean that it is labor? Right? That's the key word. Labor is the most important component in any industry. I'm going to give you some examples. Right? Pay attention now if you can. If you own a gold mine and you don't have anyone to go in and retrieve the gold, basically you have nothing. Right? You could clearly see the incredible necessity of labor. So, if cotton is king and you don't have labor, you have nothing. Right? If you own Amazon and you don't have drivers, you don't have a business. If you own airplanes and you don't have pilots, you don't have an airline company. If you have a strawberry farm and you don't have pickers, you are not making money. It's really that simple. In the early days of the US, many were considered slaves, like the Irish, Chinese, Indians, Slavs, melanated folks. There was not a distinction of the labor force until we insert the term racism. This is where the merchants, corporate entities highlighted the distinction for their own profit motive and utilized the governing body for their pursuit of profit. Now tell me, what is the difference today to then? See, slavery is a state of mind. It's not racial, unless you allow it to be. It's not due physical chains, but it is mental. It's really about labor and, of course, a mindset. In a system where through policies you're able to divide the people, utilizing fake history, journalism, theater, radio, television, films, and as a merchant now, right? An aristocrat, corporate elite, you have at your disposition, right, the necessary labor to further gain immeasurable profit without repercussions. My personal view is the following: our creative design is dumb, free of boundaries, as we have often witnessed in wild nature. Free-flowing rivers, vast open oceans, the exotic wildlife. And so was the setting for the origin of humanity, until systems and governments were put into place. Stevie Wonder states in a song, mental slavery, of which all of us, regardless of ethnicity, are victims of. This must be clearly understood. All members of humanity at one point in time have suffered the consequences of slavery. We are pitted one against the other for someone to gain from that difference. Just like in sports, when I root for my team, I am against yours. Competition often brings hatred. In professional sports, hatred provides profit. So a system has been devised to take advantage of our differences in sports, uniform colors, or in life through physical differences. And pushed to the maximum, it gives great profitability. So don't fall for the rope-a-dope. The true history has been corrupted to perpetuate this human division, which only benefit the so-called elites who maintains in this oppressive behavior to continue to rule over an unsuspected global population. You see, if you are unable to fly as a liberated bird or flow like mighty rivers and go and come as you please, then my friend, you are not free. Blessings, peace, and love.